Good morning, everyone. Welcome you all here in the sanctuary, and to all the folks Zooming. I call you our Zoomers. Hope that's okay. We're glad you're here. I'm Debbie Skirdo, President of the Board of Trustees, and I have a few announcements for everyone today. First of all, our office will be closed until Thursday this week due to the holiday, and they will be in on Thursday and Friday from 8 to 2. So if you need something from the office, be sure you know that got to check our dates and make sure it's either Thursday or Friday. Okay, and then today, our justice team will be meeting in the Founders Room after the service. And also tomorrow at 6:30 p.m., our fundraising task force will be meeting on Zoom at 6:30. Now, Tuesday the 21st, everyone on our email list will receive a very important letter from the board. This letter will provide information concerning our financial status in preparation for next Sunday's congregational meeting, which is our annual mid-year budget review. Please contact Brenda, our office administrator, if you need this letter emailed separately or put in the mail, because we will post one copy on the bulletin board, but since the office isn't going to be here, the staff isn't going to be here the whole week, you need to know where you can find that information. It's very important, and we really, really encourage you to be here next week. Also, on Wednesday, January 22nd, our spiritual life team will be meeting at 7 via Zoom, and the administrative team, which has overlapping members with spiritual life, will be rescheduling their meeting because we need everybody to be able to access the important information. Now, skipping on to February. Saturday, February 1st is our very next work party, and it will be starting at 8 a.m. and going pretty much as long as the last person standing, I guess. Oh boy. Now, also on that day, never let it be said that we don't try to schedule everything on the same day, because we do. At 9 a.m., we're asking all of the team coordinators and anyone who is the leader for the CUPS group or for the book group to please come at 9 a.m. to have a little meeting and get your code for access, and we're trying to get everybody up and ready to go with the team. So that's going to be at 9. So you might as well come at 8 and be part of the work party, and there will be some treats. So we really, really appreciate people that are attending. And if you cannot, as a coordinator or a coordinator or a group leader, get in touch with somebody on the board so we can make sure you get the right information. Also, really exciting, on February 2nd, Sunday, we are going to have our first fundraising lunch. Now, this lunch is going to be right after church, probably starting 12 to 1, and it is a fundraiser. Keep that in mind. We would like you to bring your own utensils, plates, etc. if you can. If not, we will have backup. But it's going to be a spaghetti lunch, and it's going to be delicious. And if you want more information on the menu, you can look at the community connections in there is a complete ad about this luncheon. And we need to make some money, and we're going to try and do these lunches once a month on the first Sunday of the month. So it doesn't mean it's always going to be spaghetti, but we probably will do that a couple times till we get really good at everything we're organizing. The important thing is, folks, we really, 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 really need you to RSVP. Because it makes no sense for us to make 50 plates of food and have 20 people come. That is not a fundraiser, that is a fund loser. Okay? So we're doing our best. The fundraising group task force is doing their best to really come up with some fun, community building, but money building fundraisers also. Okay? So please try to come, bring your friends, bring your family, but let us know how many. Okay, the suggested donation for these lunches is going to be $10 for an adult, and children 12 and under will be free. Okay, so especially if you're bringing the whole neighborhood of kids, we need to know. okay? That would help us so much, and obviously us, is everybody. This is all for the total of MVUUC. Sunday, so that's save the date for Sunday the 2nd. And, okay, and then another date, this is kind of far off, but it's going to be April 12th. We are going to have a silent services and sweets auction. Okay? And we have we want to have people donate services. We're not going to collect a lot of goods. That makes things very complicated. So we're going to sell services, workshops that you want to teach, you want to take someone on a tour, all different things, and we'll talk more about that. But save the date, April 12th. It's a Saturday, and it'll be a Saturday early evening. And back by popular demand, we have our auctioneer, Mark Moninger, who has committed to this day. And so he'll be here, and it'll be a lot of fun. You won't want to miss it, and we hope that we will do a great job raising some money. And now, I introduce our minister, Reverend Maggie Yenoki, also here by popular demand.
Thank you, Madam President. Boy, do I love saying that. If only the rest of the country could catch on. Yeah. Could I ask everyone to silence their phones? And if you think it's on silent, you might be wrong. So check it, please. Also, for those of you that are trying to connect to our internet, it's not working. I feel a little out of sorts because I really depend on that for the service, but thankfully, I printed a paper copy. Yay! So thank you, Laura Mulroy, wherever you are, for that advice. Oh, geez. But welcome. I am so glad you're here. We are putting together such a beautiful, moving, and just loving service. Loving and learning at the same time is like something we don't get to do very often, but today we will, here, together. So I welcome you into this space, and we open our service by a sounding of the bowl. We ring it 3 times, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. For yesterday, we call out to our ancestors, and we honor the founding members of this congregation. For today, for all of us who hold, care, and grow this beloved community, we gratefully acknowledge the Native peoples whose ancestral homelands we gather on today, as well as the diverse and vibrant Native communities who make their home here now. And for tomorrow, working some real magic for tomorrow. Yeah, you heard me. Yeah, thank you. For those who will come to find their spiritual home here with us, may we always be a place that is warm, welcoming, and belonging. Beautiful. We were kind of scurrying around a bit this morning. Huh, JaVian? So to hear the choir singing those beautiful pieces you guys have been warming up to this morning was really helpful and peaceful for us. So thank you. You have no idea how it ripples. Thank you, thank you. I have really great news. Jack Widener's back. And he's going to come up and light our chalices. Chalices, our chali. Yeah. And as he does, let's hear the words of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. These are words that he delivered on March 8th, 1965 in Selma, Alabama. A man dies when he refuses to stand up for what is right. A man dies when he refuses to stand up for justice. Thank you, Jack. A man dies when he refuses to take a stand for that which is true. I invite you all to take a stand, and we will sing. You like that? We will sing our anthem, Spirit of Life, one time through in English and then the second time through in Spanish, and then we will recite our covenant together. And since we have so many visitors with us today, let me just quickly explain that Unitarian Universalism is not a creedal faith, but we do covenant with each other. There are promises that we make with one another about how we will act together, how we will be in relationship, and how we will represent our faith in the world. And that these are the words that speak those covenants. Let's read them together. We affirm that love is the greatest purpose of this congregation. The search for truth is our constant star, and service is our prayer. We run our hearts, minds, and hands to challenge injustice with courage, to make choices for a healthier planet, and to live out our Unitarian Universalist values every day as beloved community. Thus do we covenant with each other and with all that is sacred in life. Please be seated. As we enjoy our wisdom tale, it is our time for all ages, and I invite Robert Tidwell, our DLRE, Director of Lifespan Religious Exploration, to give us our story. Thanks, Robert.
Today's story is called My Dream of Martin Luther King, and it's by Faith Ringgold. And I want to add, before I read the story, Faith Ringgold is not only a children's book author, but she's a very skilled painter. And when you go home, you should look up her art because it's amazing. I learned about her in college, and I saw this on my bookshelf. I'm like, I didn't know she did children's books. So I hope you enjoy this story, and I'll have it on the back table if anybody wants to look through this book because it's got some cool art in it too. My Dream of Martin Luther King. I've always been a dreamer, but the only dreams I can remember are the ones I dream with my eyes wide open. Once I go to sleep, I rarely remember my dreams. However, one day, while watching a television program about Martin Luther King Jr., I slept and had a dream that I will never forget. In my dream, Martin appeared first as a child, in a place so huge that it encompasses the whole world and all its people. There were children and old folks, men and women of all colors, races, and religions. They carried bags containing their prejudice, hate, ignorance, violence, and fear, which they intended to trade for hope, freedom, peace, awareness, and love. Some people had bigger bags than others, but everybody had something to trade. In the place, in this place, there were steps that led right up to a light shining bright up in the sky. Young Martin and his father, Daddy King, and his mother, his grandmother, Mother Dear, and his brother and sister, A.D. and Christine, led the climb up the steps to reach the light. Everyone was singing the words of the old hymn, we shall overcome someday. Then a terrible thing happened. Young Martin's family disappeared, and he was left alone, except for his closest friend, a boy who lived across the street, and the boy's mother. They were standing on the school steps when the boy's mother told young Martin to go away. This is a school for white children, she said. But I am starting school now too, young Martin replied proudly. You must go to the colored school, she barked. But why? Asked young Martin. Because we are white and you are black, the boy's mother answered. Then young Martin saw a policeman. The policeman was the same one who once called Daddy King a boy. This is a boy, Daddy King said, pointing to young Martin. I am a man. My name is Reverend King. The policeman said no more, and Daddy King drove away. But in my dream, young Martin was alone, and the policeman ran after him, swinging a club and yelling, Halt, boy, halt! Young Martin ran as fast as he could, and he saw a bus and got on it. The bus driver was the same one who had made Martin and his teacher stand up so that white people could sit down. In my dream, the bus driver roared at young Martin. There are no seats on this bus for Negroes. Young Martin ran from the bus into a crowd of people who were marching and carrying signs protesting segregated buses. Young Martin was happy to read the signs calling for freedom and peace. Some of the signs read, all children have equal rights to learn. Separate is not equal. Peace, freedom, and jobs. Ride free across America. We want to sit down like everyone else. And every American has a right to vote. Because these were problems facing his people, young Martin joined the demonstrators who were singing, Ain't Gonna Let Nobody Turn Me Round. But then police on horseback trampled the peaceful protesters, and police on foot turned water hoses on them, knocking them down. They attacked them with dogs and beat them with cattle prods. Drenched, ragged, and bleeding, the crowd stopped marching and singing. Young Martin and all the demonstrators were arrested and thrown into police wagons and taken into jail. While in jail, young Martin remembered what his mother had told him about slavery and lynching, and that despite the bad treatment that his people received, he was as good as anyone. Mother Dear came to get young Martin. She took him in her arms and he told her about all the awful things that had happened to him and asked her why. Although you are only 6 years old, you can't accept the way things are. You want to find a way to change things, and you will, said Mother Dear. But not now. Today is Sunday, and we are going to Sunday school and church. Daddy King will preach a sermon, and your mother will direct the choir, and you will sing Amazing Grace. In my dream, as young Martin sat in church that day, listening to Daddy King preach, then appeared in front of him a very small but powerful holy man from India named Mahatma Gandhi. Gandhi told young Martin about the power of love to create change, and about how he had led more than 300 million of his people to freedom through peaceful resistance. Young Martin had found the answer to helping his people in Gandhi's teachings. Now Martin no longer appeared in my dream as a child, but as a minister of his own church with a beautiful wife and 4 children. Many people came to ask the great man to help them. The first was a woman who had been arrested for not giving up her seat on a bus to a white man. Her name was Rosa Parks. A large meeting was called to protest Rosa Parks' arrest. The group called for a boycott of segregated buses, sit-ins, and segregated lunch counters, voter registration so that all black people could vote, equal education for all children, decent housing, and jobs for all people. The group's name was the Southern Christian Leadership Conference, and King was its leader. He led his people to the nation's capital, where he spoke with such a powerfully resonant voice that everyone was deeply moved. I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up and live out the true meaning of its creed. King painted a picture of his dream, saying, I have a dream that one day on the red hills of Georgia, the sons of former slaves and the sons of former slave owners will be able to sit down together at the table of brotherhood. I have a dream today. In my dream, I could see King's 4 little children looking up at King's vision for a better world. And then King appeared in my dream with black people and white people sitting together on buses and eating at lunch counters and voting together, with the children going to school together and living together, and King was very happy. But suddenly there was a noise like a firecracker, and I knew Martin Luther King was dead. In my dream, people were crying, just as we had on the day that he was killed. Daddy King, Mother dear, A.D., Christine, King's wife, Coretta, and his 4 children, and his many friends and supporters came to light an eternal flame in memory of the slain hero. Even the President of the United States was there. The entire world was in mourning. And as dreams go, suddenly I was back in that huge place with men, women, and children of all colors, races, and religions. This time we had come to mourn Martin Luther King's death by trading in bags containing our prejudice, hate, ignorance, violence, and fear for the slain hero's dream. We emptied the bags into a great pile, and the last bag was dumped. The pile exploded into a fire so bright that it lit up the whole world. There, emblazoned across the sky, were the words, "Every good thing starts with a dream." A hushed silence came over us as we heard Martin Luther King's words resound through the air. The sound of his voice was so clear in my dream that it woke me up. When I opened my eyes, King was there on the TV screen, and he was saying, "And he's allowed me to go up to the mountain, and I've looked over, and I've seen the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we, as a people, will get to the promised land." Thank you. And now, if the children can come up and get the chalice, we will go to our classroom.
Great class, everybody. Enjoy it. Wow. Thank you. And thank you. Thank each of you for your many kind and generous gifts of your time and your talent and your treasure that maintain our community's physical and spiritual well-being. Here at the Monte Vista Unitarian Universalist congregation, we have chosen together to donate 50% of the offerings that we gather that are not earmarked as your pledge, with a charity that aligns with our values. Usually, they serve the folks of Montclair, but for the month of January, we're doing a special Share the Plate with our Calapayan partnership. As a glimpse into the success of our partnership with the Calapayan congregation of the Unitarian Universalist Church of the Philippines, I'd like to share a message sent to us through Julie Steinbach, who's here in the back. Hi, Julie. From Donnie Hino. He is our greatest success story. He writes, "Dear Julie and our partners in Monte Vista, California. Greetings. How are you all doing? We miss you and always keep you in our thoughts. We recently heard about the wildfires in Los Angeles and hope that everyone there is safe. We also hope that our partners are doing well during this challenging time. We here at the UUCP Calapayan are doing well. The UUCP National Office in Dumaguete continues to support our members, especially in health monitoring. The children are performing well in school, and parents remain dedicated to guiding their children while encouraging them to participate actively in church and school activities. We are always grateful to you, our partners, for your unwavering support, especially in providing financial assistance to the students. This has changed many lives, including Margie, Angel, and myself. Margie now has a stable job and is supporting her sister Mary Grace's education. Angel is working as a medical volunteer while also helping her family. And as for me, I'm currently serving as an engineer too, in a permanent position with the local government unit of Bayawan City. Bayawan City is thriving as a leading agricultural city in Negros Oriental and has become a hub for agricultural mechanization in Region 7. Many nearby cities visit Bayawan to learn from our best practices, including training programs on food production, processing, and marketing. On another note, I've also been accredited as a TESDA, T-E-S-D-A assessor for the Rice Machinery Operation NC2. Sounds like I know what that is, doesn't it? And he serves as a lead facilitator for training sessions. With these responsibilities, I often find my schedule quite hectic, and I occasionally miss some church activities, but however, I continue to support our community through financial assistance whenever I can. As for my personal life, I haven't gotten married, haha, but that's fine. My focus has been on helping my family and their children, as well as serving our community. Regarding sponsorship, I've been reflecting on how I can give back, especially to help children achieve their education. I'm committing to contribute 10,000 pesos, which is nearly $200 in our US dollars, annually to support this cause. This is my way of paying forward the opportunities that I've been blessed with, thanks to the support from MVUUC. I hope this gesture will inspire the youth to pursue their studies and always remember their roots. And once again, I thank you for everything. You've been a cornerstone of our progress, and we will forever be grateful for your love and support. With warm regards, Donnie Hino. And now is our opportunity to contribute to the education of our partnership congregation. I ask you to be generous as we listen to Lily's beautiful offertory. And I invite those of you in the sanctuary to come forward with your generous offerings. I think we need seats that have tissues on the back side of the chairs for everybody. Yeah. Beautiful. Beautiful, thank you. You agree, Jimmy? They cracked you up, huh? Yeah. One of the ways we feel like a close community is when we share things that are going on in our lives. Some are heavy, some are light, some are shareable, some are difficult to share. I have two joys for you today, because we are in desperate need of joy. The first one comes from Maggie. No, not me. The other Maggie. Maggie Worsley is here with us today. But it's from her and the rest of the choir. And it says, "We are so happy," in big letters, that Jean Coates could join us in the choir today. Yeah. Wait, there's more. She makes everything better, musically and spiritually. And I agree with that. Yeah. And the next joy that I want to share is kind of personal, because it's about my husband, so I get to share. Yeah, George has been working all this week, and half of next week he'll be serving with FEMA at the distribution center in Pasadena. So, oh, what is it? Oh, sorry. Well, that's helpful. They're distributing information. Yeah, but thank you, George. We're all proud of you and honored. I invite you to join me now in a spirit of prayer. If you want to shift how you're sitting, open up the ears of your soul, as they say. This is a prayer that was written by Reverend A.J. Van Tyne. And it just moved me so much. I want to share this with you. He writes, "Great mystery which surrounds and grounds us, spark of life and possibility that lives within us, even when it seems that all else is crumbling to dust. Be with us in our confusion, our fear and despair. Lead us to navigate them as slowly as possible. Let us not flee from our grief, but allow our hearts to be broken open again and again, grieving for all that has already been lost and all that is threatened still. Spirit of life and love and regeneration, help us to feel the wisdom in our bodies, even with so much suffering. Our hearts beat with gratitude for the blessings, for beauty and joy, stubbornly breaking through, for the compassionate companionship of community, which welcomes all that we bring with us in these times and doesn't ask us to be smaller than we really are. For solidarity and mutual aid, for the trees and the wind and the stars, their cosmic witness soothing our animal soul, reminding us of the deep impermanence and the deep interconnectedness of all things. Spirit of life and transformation, may our hearts break open and stretch out to join with the hearts of others who yearn for a freer world. Each heart, a building block of a better society. Each life lived for hope and resistance is a prayer for a nobler world. May it be so. Amen. And blessed be. Please remain seated as we sing our gentle song. It's "There Is a Love." The words are written by Rebecca Parker and the music by Elizabeth Norton. Before I share the reading with you today, there's another joy. How could I have not screamed this one out first? But we have a couple of our staff members with us today. Brenda Jones, yay! And Joyce Armenta, yay! And we know why they're here, but we'll pretend it's just because you just love us and you can't stay away. Yeah, I know you do, I know. And Brenda's, aw, I love you, Caden. We prayed a lot for you, Caden. We love that you're here. Yeah, it's good. But they're here to hear JaVian's message that will be coming up in just a minute. I promise to go quick. I know that's what we're waiting for. But our reading today comes from another segment of the life of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. that we are learning more about today, rediscovering him. He writes, "We are caught in an inescapable network of mutuality tied to a single garment of destiny. Injustice anywhere is a threat to justice everywhere. There are some things in our social system to which all of us ought to be maladjusted. Hatred and bitterness can never cure the disease of fear. Only love can do that. We must evolve for all human conflict a method which rejects revenge, aggression, and retaliation. A foundation of such a method is love. Before it's too late, we must narrow the gaping chasm between our proclamations of peace and our lowly deeds, which precipitate and perpetuate war. But one day we must come to see that peace is not merely a distant goal that we seek, but a means by which we arrive at that goal. We must pursue peaceful ends through peaceful means. And we shall hew out of a mountain of despair a stone of hope. Let's sing about that with the choir. Today will start to get us there. We'll overcome a few things today. Yeah, I have a little bit of a bio here I want to share. Our guest speaker today is JaVian Jones. She is a daughter, a sister, and a mother. She has a bachelor's degree in psychology from the University of Laverne and a master's degree in education from Azusa Pacific University. She has taught biological sciences for Pomona Unified School District and the San Jacinto Unified School for a cumulative 20 years. Currently, she is a science instructor at Options for Youth, a charter school. She is a leader. She's a leader and is teaching AVID, and did I pronounce it right, AVID? Yep, and positive behaviors and interventions strategies. She is director of the children's ministry at Uplift Antioch Missionary Baptist Church in Pomona as a member for 10 years. She is the director of the youth program for Hope Ministries for 13 years. She loves being Kyrie's mother, and yeah, we love Kyrie, but he's in Australia right now, right? Yeah, is he awake now, this time of night? Yeah, maybe not. No, but we'll say hi to him. Hi, Kyrie. Tiffany's sister and Brenda's daughter. She loves family. She enjoys tea parties. She enjoys receiving flowers, and she loves the beach. I give you JaVian Jones.
Good morning, everyone. It has been a blessing to hear you guys sing. Oh my goodness, it was beautiful. You make me want to take piano lessons. Uh-oh, okay, we need to talk. It's been beautiful. And the story that Robert read, I thought was great because it just ties in directly on my journey that I took and that I'm about to share. So, Rediscovering Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. My name is JaVian, and I am the proud daughter of Miss Brenda back there. I am here because I've had the privilege of participating in a profound, life-altering event as a chaperone of 20 of my students on a Black History and Culture tour across 4 different states, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia. I thought I knew my Black history. Okay, and I believed I was connected to my African-American heritage. Little did I know how little I truly understood about the sacrifices and the depth of history that affects all Americans. This presentation is an accumulation of all the chaperones. Once I put it together, I wanted them to check to make sure I did it properly. I wanted to ensure that I captured the feelings and emotions that we all shared and felt as we traveled through time. The power of language. Oh. Just say next. Next. Okay, so why was the voice of MLK necessary? My goal today is to help you understand the journey that compelled Reverend Dr. King to rise up, facilitate, and change, ultimately dedicating his life to the cause of humanity. From the slave trade to Jim Crow, from racial terror lynchings to the mass incarceration crisis. Change. That was easy. So this is a hidden history that brought Martin Luther King's voice to us. Injustice, connection, and resilience. Change. So the power of language. The power of language is profound as it shapes our thoughts, influences our beliefs, and connects us across cultures and generations. Using enslaved instead of slave is a more accurate and respectful way to discuss the history and experiences of individuals who were subjected to slavery. It acknowledges their humanity and the injustices they faced, rather than defining them solely by their conditions. Language plays a crucial role in shaping our understanding of history and the dignity of others. Enslaver emphasizes the act of enslaving and the moral implications, while master and owner focuses more on the authority and property aspects of slavery. Labor camps. While both plantations and labor camps involve exploitation of labor, they differ significantly in their historical context, economic purposes, and the nature of the labor system involved. Freedom seekers. I didn't write anything about it. Well, let's talk about it. Freedom seekers versus runaways. When you're seeking your freedom, you're not being defiant, you're seeking your freedom. And when you use the word runaway, it sounds like you're being defiant. Okay, so now, resistance and rebellion are important forms of opposition to injustice and oppression, but they differ in methods, scope, and goals. Understanding these differences helps us to appreciate the various ways people have fought for their humane rights throughout history. Okay, our first stop, and I had to, when you first arrived, our first stop was the Whitney Plantation, and this is your ticket to get in. They give you a picture of a young person. Okay, so what stood out to me the most was the number of enslaved children who died between 1820 and the 1860s, mainly from poor living conditions, malnutrition, and disease. The memorial garden that you see there honors enslaved children, and it stands for a testament to their struggles and the harsh realities they faced even as children. Where in the top right corner, where it says Heads of Freedom Seekers, right? This image is the German Coast Uprising, which took place in 1811 in Louisiana. The uprising began in January with approximately 300 enslaved individuals who took part in the revolt. The enslaved people sought to gain their freedom. As the freedom seekers marched toward New Orleans, the uprising was met with a swift and brutal response. Captured freedom seekers were executed. Their heads were displaced on stakes along the river as a reminder of the consequences of trying to rebel. So, well, the entire educational value of experiences centered on historical events was diverted by the presence of celebrity Master P. Even the driver was excited by his presence, and so that became, what happened at the Whitney Plantation? Oh, Master P was there. They missed everything. Okay. So, next. This slide is the main reason. I have to keep looking at my notes, otherwise I'll get distracted. Okay. This slide is the main reason I was excited to chaperone this tour, as participating in the underground experience, railroad experience, has been on my bucket list It's at the top of my bucket list. Slave Haven Underground Railroad is a vital part of American history, symbolizing the struggle for freedom and the resilience of those who fought against the institution of slavery. It serves as a reminder of the ongoing fight for justice and equality. What stood out to me the most was how items, specific items like the type of flower that you have in your yard, a unique sculpture, or the arrangement of the stones in front of the yard could signify that the home was a safe haven. The Legacy Museum. Oh, I had to add more. So this is when you go down. If you have to, the slaves would have to go down into the basement and stay quietly. And this is some of the things that were in there. There was usually a tunnel that went from the safe home to the Mississippi River for them to go down to the river. See, I have to stick to my notes, otherwise I'll go past my time. Okay. So, the Legacy Museum is coming. Next, okay. The Legacy Museum is one of 3 historical museums whose focus, we can't heal. Oh, did we miss one? There it is. Okay, then we're going to go back to that one, okay? We cannot heal the deep wounds inflicted during an era of racial terrorism until we tell the truth about it and have the courage to hear the truth. Okay, let's go back because that was an important slide. Thank you. All right, 400 years of enslavement. The Atlantic slave trade ended in 1808. Enslavers began to breed their slaves because they could no longer bring them over. They began to breed their slaves to control and increase their labor force, viewing enslaved people as property and commodities to maximize profits and sustain their labor camps. Okay, the enslaved were often beaten and degraded, enduring severe physical and emotional suffering as a result of their oppression. Yeah. Okay, so this was the difficult part of the tour, and the students kept saying, "Miss Jones, why are you crying? Miss Jones, why are you crying?" I cried all through this whole thing. Okay. No, we're not in Memphis yet. We're in New Orleans still. Okay. It is estimated that around 12 to 13 million Africans were forcibly brought to America, with about 4 million left in the United States at the end of slavery. Slavery was replaced by mass incarceration for African Americans, but that's a whole other presentation, so we won't go there. Okay, next. Jim Crow. The Jim Crow era began in 1863, and that just enforced segregation in the South. It marked the beginning of a new form of terror for African Americans in the United States. Okay, next. So this is a second museum that I was talking about, and this was a lynching museum. I was terrorized. I'm like, just the name is intimidating. However, it was presented so tastefully that I gained a profound understanding of what occurred as well as the how and why behind lynches. So let me just explain. I gotta stay focused, otherwise I'll take too long. The jars of dirt serves as a potent reminder of the lives lost to racial violence and the need for truth and reconciliation in addressing this dark chapter of American history. It is a tribute to the victims of lynching by collecting soil from the sites of lynchings. So this is the dirt over here, and it's walls and walls of dirt. And so as people hear about it, they would bring the dirt from where their family or ancestor was lynched, and they put it on the wall. I don't even know what to call them, but the square right there, those are the counties in which the lynchings occurred and all the names of people that they know that occurred in that county. So they're just trying to honor, memorialize, I love it, the lost, and give them some closure. Thank you very much. Okay, the next one. So lynching, protest, and in song. I don't know how many of you have heard Strange Fruit, okay, by Billie Holiday. It was written as a way of exposing American racism, particularly the lynching of African Americans. Okay. Next. So this is the murder that shook the nation. Okay, the devastating story of Emmett Till. In August 1955, a young 14-year-old Emmett Till from Chicago went into a meat market in Mississippi, Money, Mississippi, where he was accused of harassing a white woman. Following the incident, two white men and a black man. Nobody always talks about that black man, but two white men and a black slave, or somebody who was controlled, abducted, tortured, and murdered Till and disposed of his body in the Tallahassee River. Till's murder shed light on the horrific treatment of African Americans in Mississippi because his mom, Mammy Till Toby, insisted on having an open casket. Till became a symbol of the civil rights movement. His mother made sure his life counted. So all of these issues gave rise to the voices of the civil rights movement, including the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and Malcolm X. Next. One of the first significant events that MLK led was the Montgomery bus boycott. So although Rosa Parks is often credited with catalyzing the civil rights movement, two teenage girls protested segregation busing and was arrested before her. Unfortunately, they were dismissed as troubled teens and not taken seriously, while Rosa Parks, who did not plan to be arrested, seized the opportunity when it arose. It is important to note that Mrs. Parks was not sitting in the front of the bus. She was sitting in the front of the black section of the bus, and when the bus filled up, a white passenger requested her to stand because he could not sit on the same row as an African American, and she said no, and this was followed by the pivotal incident in the civil rights movement that you all know already. Okay, so next, the second significant event was the bombing of the 16th Baptist Church in Birmingham, Alabama, 1963, which resulted in the tragic death of 4 young girls and left 17 others injured. Often overlooked, however, is the fact that 2 boys were subsequently hunted down and brutally murdered in the aftermath of the bombing. So, okay, I'm sorry, stay there for a minute. Go back. Okay, these are the 4 girls, and I took this picture because as you look, you can see the Baptist church behind them. On the right-hand side is where it was bombed. And these are the 4 girls, and these are the 2 young men that are never acknowledged. Okay, thank you. The young men? Yeah. No, they were murdered. They were, yes, hunted and murdered. Okay. And I say hunted intentionally because they were running. So, not even knowing the third significant event was so impactful, and that was going to be the highlight of my journey throughout history, the Selma March of 1965 over the Edmund Pettus Bridge, which John Lewis later referred to as Good Trouble. The Selma March was another turning point in the civil rights movement, significantly influencing public opinion, legislation, and the ongoing struggle for voting rights in the United States. The primary reason most images are in black and white is to underscore the brutality and the harsh reality of such attacks, the bloodiness and severity of the beatings, the dog attacks, and the skin tearing from the water pressure from being hosed became less apparent. At the Pettus Bridge, I had the pleasure to meet a man who participated in the Selma March named Rodney. The man who provided the tour to us was the son of a marcher. His name was Columbus Mitchell, and then the son of Martin Luther King's lawyer, who was Terry Chestnut. We just had a blast meeting history. My heart goes out because history is dying off. The people who participated are no longer here. The majority of them were here probably up to 2020, but we're starting to lose that history and it's not being passed on. So, traveling to the South brought history to life for me. It was life-altering. I believe the students were just as affected by the profoundness of where they were and where we are now, and how it has impacted their lives. The students had to maintain a journal, which I had the privilege of grading, and the quality of their writing really began to shape and make a connection of how much was sacrificed for them to have their freedoms today. Our tour guide from Memphis, next. Our tour guide from Memphis, Tennessee, personally participated in significant events such as the library sit-ins, job discrimination protest, and the Selma March of 1965. A landmark honors her and her siblings for their most arrests during that time. Later, when she became a teacher, she had to relocate to another state because she was unable to obtain her teaching credential in her current state. So our student, she was all casual. She was giving the tour and she's just talking. And when she said the names, I looked at her name tag. I said, "Is that you?" She goes, "Oh, yeah." I'm like, oh my goodness, you know, history was right here in front of us. It was so great. So then all the kids started having her sign their books, their journals that they had to keep track of. And so she signed their books, Eileen Lee Turner, Memphis 2024. So then she had the kids sing "We Shall Overcome" as they walked back to the bus. It was beautiful. I do have that recording. Okay, 1968 was the year I was born, so we're going to go to the next slide. The phrase "I am a man" became a powerful slogan during the march, symbolizing the demand for dignity, respect, and equality for African American workers, especially the men. It emphasized our humanity and rights as individuals. It began when 2 African American workers from the sanitation department were killed while trying to stay warm and dry, as they were not permitted inside the building. This was a pivotal moment. We have a lot of pivotal moments. This was another pivotal moment in history. Martin Luther King Jr. was very active in the sanitation workers movement, but unable to participate because he was going to be assassinated. On the next slide. Okay. It would be a disservice to not mention Doogie Chase's Creole restaurant. Leah Chase was deeply involved in the civil rights movement. In the upper room at the Doogie Chase restaurant served as a meeting place for civil rights leaders and members of all colors and nationalities, including the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King and others who strategized and planned for social change while receiving a good meal. That was important. Okay. Then the culminating event of assassination of the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King occurred at the Lorraine Motel in Memphis, Tennessee. And I have to share, I shared it with you initially, I was not an MLK fan. Even after my trip, I still struggled with why he received so much attention when there were so many others who also sacrificed their lives for justice. Many unnamed men and women of all nationalities. Now I understand. Martin was the bond. He was the voice of reason. He was the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King. And these are just a few ways, next slide, that we have honored him. One, his birthday is a national holiday. The Martin Luther King Reflection Park, that image is supposed to acknowledge making it to the mountaintop. I couldn't make it, I only made it there. So some of the students were able to make it to the mountaintop, and the mountaintop would be the very top up there. The hotel where he was murdered has become a museum. And something that he said when the 4 little girls were murdered at their funeral, he said, they have something to say to each of us in their death. They say to us that we must be concerned not merely about who murdered them, but about the system, the way of life, the philosophy which produced the murderers. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for sharing my memory.
So pretty. Come back up here.
God is so good. Thank you, guys.
Yeah. Yeah, she is. You were the she
has
of
to be.
God
Yes, she
today.
has to be.
Yeah. Thank you, JaVian.
Thank you for allowing me the opportunity.
Yeah, and thank
Oh,
you for.
next slide.
Oh,
One more slide.
one more slide.
Is it there?
Yeah, hold on.
There it is.
Together.
We will rise together.
Yes, yes. Yeah, we will. Thank you.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. Is it okay?
Please stand as we sing together our sending song. It's number 149 in the hymnal, Lift Every Voice and Sing it with gusto.
It's going to be on the...
Yeah. You can stand with the choir. There they are. Would everyone please find in your order of service, unless that goes on the screen, hopefully, our unison benediction as we read together. As we close our time together and extinguish our chalice flame, may we let its light shine through us to strengthen us for the way ahead we cannot yet see. May our lives serve as a light in this world we care so much about. Thank you. And just to put a little icing, we'll put a cherry on top by sharing with JaVian and those who are visiting us today that may not know that when Martin Luther King walked across that the Pettus Bridge, he was supported and accompanied by many people of our faith, Unitarian Universalism, one being James Reeb, who was then attacked by the oppressors and killed. So that's kind of a really hard way to end, but may we just take all that we have today and let it fill us. Let it change. Let it be life-changing for us as it was for JaVian. Thank you, JaVian. One more round for her. Woo.